What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stranger Things Has Happened, Season 3, Chapter 3. How you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Snooch?
I'm snoochy.
Snoochy boochies?
No, not quite boochies. That's a bit
Not
much.
boochies.
It's Thursday.
Just snoochies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's Saturday for them.
Yeah. Saturday for you guys because, we pre-record. And I'm going to remember this time. Thank you all for joining us in our live chat tonight. Please don't spoil it for us because this is our first watch for all the newbies that are watching it. So thanks for coming. Yay. Overall opinion of this episode, how'd you like it?
I thought it was solid. It started off with some like a cliffhangery kind of thing, and then it got super dark at the end. It was a good episode.
So far, does not disappoint. So far, completely unpredictable at times. Like, some of the stuff you can figure out, but so unpredictable with everything else. But
yeah, definitely.
You want to get into it?
Yeah, might as well.
Let's get into it. We start off at Elle's house. She's having her first sleepover.
Is that a thing?
Yes, it's a huge thing. That is a huge thing for girls, okay? They had the music going. They were dancing and bopping around. They had the teen magazines with the posters. They had boy talk. They were talking about kissing. These are all things that really happen at girls' sleepovers. It's not, get into little nighties and have a pillow fight. This is what girls' sleepovers were. These were all of my sleepovers growing up. So that was kind of cool. Huge points for nostalgia on that one.
Was there ever a time that people got into 90s for sleepovers?
Only in movies.
Oh.
Only in movies.
Okay.
Boy dreams, shit like that.
I don't think that's a boy dream. I don't think any boy ever thought about girls sitting around in 90s. It's just not a thing we do.
Oh. Well, that's good because it doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't happen. Only in movies. So they're talking about boy talk, Ralph Macchio, the poster of the month. And then they get into Mike and Lucas, of course, because that's what girls do. They're talking about, kissing and blah, blah, blah. Elle's like, what do you think they're doing right now? And Max is like, they're probably all sitting around, saying, oh, how are we going to get them back? And Elle's like, I know how to check. And they turn the radio onto, white noise fuzz. And she blindfolds herself and she goes into, there was a name for it last season, but I don't remember that name because we always called it, she went into the world between worlds.
Yeah.
Not the upside down, but, in the dark in between place. And she sees them. And Mike's having a sleepover with Lucas and Will. And Mike's playing the victim. He's the victim in this whole breakup. And Lucas is like...
He kind of is.
In a way.
I mean, the only reason they broke up is because Hopper fucked with him enough that he basically ate the bullet. He kind of is the victim here.
He should have been honest.
At the detriment of fucking not being able to ever see her again because Hopper was gonna fucking kill him, or at least make it impossible for them to be around each other.
There's ways around that.
But I'm just saying, he did get fucked over.
You know how many times my mother threatened my boyfriends growing up? She threatened boys that weren't even interested in me. There's ways around it. There are. Trust me. Anyway, so Lucas is all like, women act on emotion, not on logic. And it's like, what? So Elle's reporting back to Max, and they're all like, whatever, Will, on the other hand, I feel so bad for him. He's still being ignored. He just wants to play some D&D, and his friends are girl crazy. Dustin kind of ditched them because he's interested in the Russians, and Will's all alone now. So and then Elle hopped out because the burping and the farting commenced. And question for you now, is that how boy sleepovers went?
100%.
Eating, girl talk, burping and farting?
100%. I mean, nailed it. Yeah. That scene was written by a guy that had been there.
Now, did you get a sense of nostalgia from that? Like I did? Like, I saw this girl sleepover, and I'm like, oh, that could be like me and Tina Parker right now. Or me and Debbie Dowling right now.
I didn't give any thought to it.
No. Well, I guess that's the difference between girls and boys, because we're all about emotion.
I don't feel like boy sleepovers were emotionally transformative in the same way that they probably are for girls as far as bonding goes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Men bond, or boys bonded over doing violent things together.
Things together.
Yeah, like playing football and stuff like that. Like, those are the kinds of things we bonded over.
Yeah. Makes sense. Sense. So now we're at Hopper comes home from being stood up, and he still has the bottle of Chianti in his hand. He's completely drunk, sees the door closed, and immediately opens it up. What did I tell you about 3 inches? And he finds Max on the floor with Elle. No Mike. Elle's like, we're having a sleepover, and Hopper's like, whoops, my bad. And he's all like smiley and everything, and hops into the recliner with his bottle of Chianti. Now back in the girls' room, they're doing like a Stranger Things take on Spin the Bottle. It's not your typical spin the bottle and kiss a boy, but it has all these boys' names on it, where you spin the bottle and Ella's gonna go jump in and spy on that boy and report back to Max. So that's pretty cool. Like, we totally would have done that, if that was a thing. It lands on Mr. Wheeler, and it's like, even Elle said, no, too boring. What was his name again? I can't even remember his name all the time.
I can't either, but he'd just be sleeping in the chair. Ted
Fucking
Wheeler.
Ted
Striker. Striker.
Yeah. Yes. So they spin again, and it lands on Billy. So Elle goes, into the world between worlds. She sees the car. She hears whimpering. She hears talking. And it's almost like he looks up and he sees Elle, who is like in and out of the ethereal world.
Yeah.
And Elle gets totally terrified and hops out immediately. Yeah. That was weird. He saw her.
Do you think that this foreshadows a future ability for her to go into the ethereal world and then come back out in a different place?
Oh, I never thought of that, but that could definitely be on the board.
Because it appears that she's physically attached to the new place, or else he wouldn't be able to see her through whatever the veil would be.
That totally makes sense.
So I wonder if there is a
she can transport herself.
What's the word? Allegorinous? No. Allegorinous? No. I got nothing. But basically
I know what you're talking about.
Something in D&D that has that ability.
Yeah.
Like a job or a class or whatever.
Teleportation.
Would it be teleportation? Because there's a Twilight component that would be more than just teleporting. Because like my rogue can teleport,
Right.
but there's no mention of what happens in between those 2 points.
And my character just died, and now she's a ghost, and she can jump in and out of the ethereal realm. So I will look for that, and I'll make a little note. In and out of ethereal world.
Because that's one of the things that we haven't talked about in a long time, but it's still true. All these characters have a parallel in the D&D.
In Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
It still holds true. So after that happens, we have opening credits now, which I thought, like, that was a decent amount of time in between the opener and the opening credits.
Yeah, they call that a cold open.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it.
It was cold.
It was cold. It was an opening.
It was an opening.
Yeah. So now we're at the next morning, and a storm is brewing, and Ted's mowing his lawn, trying to beat the rain. Will wakes up first, and he is like dressed in full D&D wizard gear. Okay, he's blasting some wizard music, wakes up Lucas and Mike. He's like, "No, girls, it's session time." He finally wants to get a session in, and Lucas is like, "Can I take a shower first?" And it's like and then all of a sudden we flash over to a shower, but it's Hopper in the shower. Hopper's in the shower. He's definitely hungover. He hops out. He's in his little towel, and it's like, woohoo. I like Hopper.
Was it like hoo-hoo?
Oh, it was for me, and I'm sure. I'm sure I know a few people that would also say, woohoo, Hopper in a towel.
Settle down, Shanty, if you're listening.
What if I was talking about Tina?
Well, Tina, she's got that whole roast beef thing going on.
The Arby's number 5.
Yes.
Arizona number 5.
Yeah, Arizona number 5. A little bit of Tina in my life.
So anyway, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, go hop into ATSW, the Escape Pod, and go into the episode that was a couple weeks ago. I don't even know the episode number.
The one I named Arby's Merkin? Or was it the one before that?
Go check out the Arby's Merkin episode, okay?
Yeah,
and you'll totally understand
ridiculous.
What we're talking about. So Hopper's walking around in that towel like woohoo, and he finds the note on the fridge that Ella's gonna sleep over Max's house now, and it's like, I'm so loving this cute little friendship. And all of a sudden Joyce busts in the door. Okay, now Hopper is pissy as hell about being stood up the night before. Okay, yep. And Joyce just goes over to the fridge and starts putting magnets on the fridge, and they're falling down, and puts magnets on the fridge and they're falling down. Hopper is just like so seething over this whole thing. He's only listening. He's not even listening. Let's face it. He's not even listening to her. Joyce is telling him about the conversation that she had with Scott, and Hopper's like, "Who's Scott?" And he's like, "Your kid's science teacher? That's where you were last night, blah, blah, blah." So Hopper is super jelly right now. He's not listening. Joyce is like seriously trying to get her thought across, and she's like, "What if it's them?" Meaning the lab people. Hopper's like, "You're just trying to get out of standing me up, and here you go with the excuses." And Joyce is like, prove it to me then. Prove to me that it's not them. She wants to go to the lab. Hopper's like, this is completely ridiculous. Brushes Joyce off as he's getting changed now, because he closed his door curtain. He's changing, still rambling on to Joyce about her and her excuses. Comes out, There's no Joyce. He's like, where'd Joyce go? He goes outside on the deck. She comes out of the shed with these giant wire clippers. And she's like, I'm going. And Hopper's like, well, I'm busy. She's like, okay, bye. And he's like, no, wait, I'll go with you. Joyce is like, this is not a joke. Oh, excuse me. So he chases after her. Now we flash over to Max and Elle again. Max is trying to rationalize what Elle saw the night before with Billy. They're at Max's house and they go in to search Billy's room. Max is like, we're going to see things in here that we're not going to want to see. And sure enough, they open up the night table and there's a bunch of penthouses. And then Max said something like, totally brought me back again. She's like, gag me with the spoon. Totally.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
So love that. I used to say that all the time. Oh, I love being an 80s kid. I miss the 80s. Now that I'm middle-aged, I miss the 80s. So they're still searching around and they go into his bathroom and finds melted bags of ice in the bathtub, which is weird. Max is like, well, he works out all the time. Maybe it's for his sore muscles. And we all know that when you're possessed by whatever the darkness is on the other side, you're burning hot and you need to be cold. Like we learned that in season 2.
Right. And dude is strong, but he ain't that strong.
Yeah. So then Elle finds blood on the sink cabinet. They open up the cabinet under the sink and find the lifeguard bag and a bloody whistle.
It's a bloody whistle.
A bloody whistle.
This is a fucking bloody whistle.
I just, in my notes, I wrote, they found lifeguard shit. So they find the lifeguard shit.
True. I don't remember previously, though, him going back home.
I know, right?
So was that like something we're just supposed to... And like, what's the point of hiding the stuff under the sink?
If
it was in the trunk previously. I just, it was one of those.
A story. In my head, I imagined him, they were at the warehouse the night before, and then he went home because he was like really hot and just stashed the stuff under the sink, and then he took a shower and then he took a bath to cool off.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you leave the stuff in the car?
I don't know.
And
it was bloody. Maybe he didn't want his car to get dirty because he loves his car.
Yeah, okay. Sure. I mean, I'm going along with it regardless of what the answer is. It just struck me as odd. I was like, I get it, Duffer Brothers, but why?
I am sure after watching 2 seasons, I am sure that this will be explained in a flashback.
Oh, maybe.
Eventually. Because they're good at this shit. They don't do anything by mistake. Everything's been explained so far. I have like 100% faith that this too will be explained.
These guys ain't no duffers.
Yeah. So now we're with Jonathan and Nancy, okay? And they're developing the pictures from that old lady's house, which I can't remember her name at the moment, but I know I have it written down somewhere. But the old lady who they investigated the lead with the popcorn rat. Remember the popcorn rat? Yeah,
Mrs.
popcorn
Johnston or something.
Yeah, something like we'll get to it. I promise we'll get to it. Anyway, so like they're developing those pictures, and Nancy is like, I'm totally going to wow them. And she walks into their board meeting, okay? And she presents the info to the suits, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? Never expected it. Jake Busey starts being a douche, and everybody laughs at her and calls her Nancy Drew, and she gets reprimanded. Didn't see that coming. That was one of the predictable things.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in the ice cream shop, okay? And the little preteens that are always asking for a free sample, they're dinging the bell. And Robin, she's got her headphones on, and she's still translating everything. She's got a little translation book. She's like, no samples today. You know, sorry, you're abusing company policies.
Right.
And of course, the girl, which I think is Lucas's little sister, but I'm not sure. We've only seen her like once or twice. She's like, where's the sailor man? And Robin's like, Spycraft.
Robin Thurman.
Yeah.
You know she's Uma Thurman's daughter, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about that. Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke, yeah.
Didn't we talk about that, or did I talk about that with somebody else?
I think so. It may have come up.
It was a few weeks ago. Maybe I'll have to watch our.
She's super cute.
She's not. She's growing on me. I did not like her episode 1. I really like her episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give it to you because you liked her from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like her now. So after that, we flash over to the sailor man himself, Steve with the good hair. He's hiding in the mall plants with binoculars at the food court with Dustin. And they're looking for a spy, a Russian spy. And they're like, what does even a Russian spy look like? And they're thinking he's going to look like a guy with blonde hair who's built,
duffel bag, angry face,
a stereotype. But they start talking about girls because, Steve's not looking for a Russian dude. He's looking at the chicks and he's like, oh, that chick is, and she's so out of his league. How are they even getting together? And Dustin's trying to tell him about girls. And he's like, you got the perfect girl right in front of you. And Steve's like, who? And Dustin's like, Robin. And Steve's like, no, she's not my type. She's this weirdo. She's hyper, and she's in drama club, and she's in band. And now I really like her because it's like, oh, those were all my friends,
You're like, oh, I like this chick now.
No, I like her. She would have been my friend. And Dustin brings up Susie, Susie this and Susie's that. And Steve's like, and who gave you the advice to get Susie? It's me. So pipe down, So you shut him down. Now we see that the storm is beginning. It's just starting to rain. And we're at Mike's house and playing Dungeons and Dragons. The phone rings. Mike runs to the phone. He's like, hi, Al. And it's just a telemarketer. Nothing's changed in 40 years, by the way. It's still just a telemarketer every time your phone rings.
Mm-hmm.
Will is all about the game. Lucas wants to call the girls. Mike is kind of siding with Lucas. Will is like, but the game. And then Mike totally metaplays the rest of the campaign and ends it all. Will totally freaks out, okay? He's pissed. It is like pouring rain out. He storms out of the house. Mike follows him. Ruined everything to swap spit, is what he tells Mike. You ruined everything to swap spit. This was their little foursome club.
Yeah.
And it's completely destroyed. Dustin doesn't even care anymore. He doesn't blame him. Mike is like, but we're not kids anymore. You know, you didn't always think that we were going to be sitting in my basement and playing games for the rest of our lives, did you? And Will's like, well, yeah, I did. And he leaves. Mike's like,
Whoa,
you
whoa,
can't
whoa,
go.
whoa.
It's raining. Huh?
Oh, never mind. Keep
Okay.
going.
Okay. And Will's like, you can't go. It's raining. And Will's just like, out of there. He leaves.
I knew you were going to do that.
What?
Did you really just blow over the big reveal?
The big reveal?
Yeah, Will's gay.
Oh.
He says, I already know that you don't like girls.
Well, I just figured that Will just
Will's gay, dude.
Will's just not mature yet.
Will's fucking gay, bro.
You think so?
Yes. Yes, and the other boys know it.
I thought it was because Will just wasn't mature enough yet.
You think about it, and then next week or in 2 weeks we'll talk about it again.
Okay. And Will's gay. I know Mike's gay in real life. He came out of like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. Good for him. I totally support that. So, yeah. Well, that might have been a reveal. Or it just might have been like Will's just not into girls yet. He's still in the games and the Tonka truck still.
That's usually how they talk about people that haven't come out of the closet yet. Anyway,
okay, so we're with Elle and Max now, and they're at the pool. You know, it's still storming, but they're at the pool. They're investigating the bag. They notice that Heather's not at work. You know, they're asking the lifeguards, and the lifeguards like, no swimming until, 30 minutes after the last bolt of lightning, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, we want to know whose bag this is. And they say it's Heather's, and they look at the wall and they find Heather's picture hanging up, as one of the lifeguards. They take the picture. Elle studies it. They go into the pool shower. They run the shower because it sounds like white noise again. Elle, puts on goggles that are duct tape. So, she has their whole sensory thing going on. Mm-hmm. She goes into the world between worlds. She sees a mailbox, 1438. She sees a red door. She sees a bathtub.
She didn't want to paint it black. That was the surprise.
Yeah, she didn't paint that door black. Mm-hmm. Guess she wasn't into the Rolling Stones.
No, it was the Doors.
Mm-hmm. No.
Was it? Was it the Stones?
Yeah, it's the Rolling Stones.
All right, fair enough.
I know my music. It's okay. It's one of my nerd things. Anyway, she goes back into the world between worlds. Mailbox, 1438, red door, bathtub, ice. Heather pops up. She screams, help me. And then she gets pulled under. That was kind of creepy. That was like Freddy Krueger type of creepy.
Definitely. It was one of those moments where you're like, I'm not sure where the physics of this world begin, end, like what.
Yeah, because like that bathtub had no bottom to it.
No.
She just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper.
Well, and then the bathtub turned to water anyway.
Yeah. So weird. Now we're with Hop and Joyce. We're at the lab. Joyce walks in through the entrance. She immediately starts flashing back to the last time she saw Bob when he was getting eaten by the Demogorgon. The Demodog. Demodog was eating Bob, Snostages.
Demobob.
Yeah. Demobob. Damn it, Bob. Fucking Bob.
Fucking Bob.
The whole place looks deserted. Hopper's starting to check it out. But the camera is on. The camera light is on. Snooch, the camera light was on.
I know. It was on.
It was on. And then like the camera like fades into the camera lens and you think you're gonna see who's on the other side, but it's Dustin on the other side of the binoculars. We faded into Dustin. We don't know who's watching that freaking camera.
True.
They always cliffhang me. They always get me.
Some dude on a motorcycle, apparently.
So Justin's like, they see a long blonde hair guy with muscles and shades and a duffel bag, and they're like, target acquired. It's a Russian dude. It's an evil Russian dude. And they start following him.
This was the best.
He's a jazzercise instructor.
It was so predictable.
He's a gay jazzercise instructor.
That feels so good, ladies.
A room full of chicks, and anybody who's watching this who does not know 80s workout clothes, okay, it was kind of like a bathing suit with a G-string back and leotards, and they're all like, you know, pelvic thrusting is the best way to describe it, because they're working out their butts. They're
gluteus maximus.
Buns of steel. Yeah, so now instead of hunting the Russian, now they're entranced watching all the chicks working out. So,
yeah.
The
80s were great.
Yeah. I did not have one of those workout outfits because no. Mm-mm.
No.
But anyway, we flash over to Robin, who is going over the code. She's just repeating it, trying to make some sense of it. A delivery guy knocks on the back door and she signs for the packages. And it's from Lynx Transportation, and their little icon is a silver cat. Which is one of the codes that she kept repeating over and over again.
Right.
Silver cat. So Steve and Dustin finally pull their heads out of jazzercise, and they're back at the ice cream shop, and Robin is bolting out, and they don't know what the hell's going on, and she's scanning the mall. A trip to China sounds nice. And then she sees Imperial Panda over in the food court. So she's cracking it. She's like, if you tread lightly, hey, guess what? Kaufman Shoes is right over there. And when blue and yellow meet in the west, okay, in the west, there's big green clock up on the ceiling. Well, on the wall near the ceiling, gigantic green clock with a
What's the
blue
clock green?
The clock was green, and
I remember the blue and yellow arms, but I didn't.
Blue and yellow hands on the clock. Yeah,
that's the green clock.
Yeah, it was a green clock.
Okay.
So Robin announces to Steve and Dustin that she has cracked the code, and they know what they must do now. So just as that summarizes everything up with them, we're back at the Hawkins Post. Okay. Nancy's there. She's getting coffee, opens up a cabinet. There's a rubber rat. Jake Busey, you're so fucking funny.
Yeah, he's
so funny. What a douche. She grabs the rat. She finds Jonathan. She's like, you know what? We're going to go get proof. And Jonathan's like, what? A rubber rat? And she's like, no, we're going to find the real proof. We're going to go get proof. We're going to bring them the real rat. You know, we should have done this from the beginning. We'll get blood tests and yada, yada, yada. And Jonathan's like, no, we're going to lose our job. And Nancy's like, but I'm right. And Jonathan's like, yeah, well, you should have thought of this before, before you presented everything. Yeah, it's just the way things are. Yeah.
Me.
Nancy's like, well, I'm going. And give me the keys to your car. Who really hands the keys to the car over to their girlfriends? It just doesn't happen.
It's unlikely.
It doesn't happen. We're back at the lab again. Hopper goes over to where the upside down was sealed, and now it's cemented. Joyce is flashing back to Will. Hopper's like, it's over. There's nothing to worry about now. And Joyce is like, I'm so sorry. I must be losing my fucking mind. Hopper's like, nope, and gives his PTSD story. And he found out that Joyce wants to move, and she's fixing up her house to put it on the market.
Which is impressive because it was fucked up.
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. Hopper wants Joyce and her family to feel safe and to stay. He has a true heart-to-heart with her about when Sarah died and how, running away wasn't the thing. He did it. It didn't work. He's back in Hawkins again.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are teary-eyed. And I'm like all into this. Like I'm like, oh, they're bonding. And then you hear a clanky bang. And I'm like, damn it. And Hopper gets up to investigate. So it's still storming out really, really bad. This is like the longest thunderstorm in the whole entire world. It's lasted all day long at this point. It's nighttime now. Mike and Lucas, they went to Will's house. They biked through the storm. They're banging on Will's door. Will's not answering the door though, because Will is in the woods. He's in Castle Byers in his little fort outside. He's flashing back to his friends. He's looking at his pictures and, all the fun that they used to have and conversations that took place. And he's bawling, because he's thinking this is all over because his friends are girl crazy. He starts tearing up his pictures. He takes out a bat. He starts smashing the shit out of his fort. And that was really sad for me. We're back with Jonathan and Nancy. Jonathan did go with Nancy to the lady's house, the rat lady's house. Mrs. Driscoll.
Yeah. I
knew I wrote it down. Mrs. Driscoll's house, the rat lady. She's not answering the door. So Nancy's like, I'm going in. Just walks in the house. Jonathan's like, what the hell are you doing? And Nancy's like, she's 80 years old. What if she fell? And Jonathan's like, well, she's probably not home. And Nancy's like, it is nighttime. Where is an 80-year-old lady going to go?
Right.
At night during a huge storm? She's in there. She's in there. The whole house is lit up. Okay. So Nancy's like calling out to her, and then they go downstairs. Don't go downstairs. You never want to go downstairs. This is where bad stuff happens. But they went downstairs. And they see more empty bags of fertilizer in the middle of the floor. And they're hearing squeals and chitterings and snarling. And, they grab weapons. I think Jonathan grabbed a hammer and Nancy grabbed a hatchet. And they round the corner. And there's like freaking Mrs. Driscoll, like, slamming that fertilizer into her mouth like she is a starving teenage boy. Like she
I don't quite
get enough of it.
Understand the premise of they're obviously possessed by something from the upside down. Like,
yeah, remember when Popcorn Rat exploded and became the jelly and he slid out of the cage? Well, Popcorn Jelly guts probably possess Mrs. Driscoll.
Right. But normally parasites of whatever type don't make their hosts eat poisonous things.
That's true.
It's a very strange thing to me.
So
but
weird.
whatever.
We'll find out.
Because you couldn't eat a bunch of fertilizer because you wouldn't survive it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like within a really short period of time, you're gonna.
There's 5 episodes left.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else happened?
All right.
I know we're about done.
So I wrote down like fuck in capital letters because of course she looks up and sees them, but we're never going to find out. It's gone forever because now we're at the mall. Justin and Steve and Robin are on the roof in the thunderstorm. Great place to be in a thunderstorm, you guys, but whatever. They're watching the deliveries. It's 8:42. It's almost 8:45 when they're together. When blue and yellow meet. Yeah. We're watching these deliveries taking place from the Chinese restaurant, and Robin's like, look for the foot, the sneaker store too. We see armed guards, like seriously armed guards to the hill, like guarding these delivery people who are whistling. Steve and Dustin start scuffling over the fucking binoculars, and they fucking make a clang noise, and the guards start searching for them now.
Right.
So they hide and they sneak back into the mall. But they're definitely Russian guys. They're Russian guards, armed Russian guards, because they're speaking Russian. So that's how I knew that. But before they run into the mall, Steve and Robin are holding hands. Oh. We're holding hands, Don.
That's how it happens. Next thing you know, they're eating fertilizer.
Oh no, that's not what I meant by that. We're back at the lab again. Hopper's investigating. He corners what he thinks he corners them into a room, okay, and he goes into that room and's like, Hawkins police, come out with your hands up, blah blah blah. Walks into the room, sees that a window's open, and he's like, oh, they escaped. Hopper, behind you, and like bam, Hopper gets the shit beat out of him by some Russian dude who takes off on a motorcycle, and I'm like, no. And Joyce comes in and sees all of this and finds Hopper down on the ground, and she sees the motorcycle leaving, and that's where we're left with that. Now for the finale, this is where it got like so fucked up.
Super fucked.
So fucked up, okay? Ellen Max, they find the mailbox that says 1438, okay? They see the red door on the house, okay? They know that it's Heather's house. They just walk in, okay? Because they think Heather needs help in the bathtub. They find Billy fucking having dinner with Heather's parents, Janet and Tom. And they're all playing records, and Janet's drinking wine, and they're all at a sit-down dinner having a grand old time.
Yeah, super weird vibes from everybody.
And of course, like, Tom is like, who the hell are you kids? And Billy's like, oh, this is my little sister, Maxine. And this is Maxine's friend. And goes over to Elle, and he's like, who are you? And Elle's like, where is she? And out from the kitchen comes Heather. Like, this was a typical scene from the 1950s, like, playing records. They're all dressed up. Like, it was weird. They were even listening to, like, I don't know, music from the 50s or 60s. Heather comes out with a tray of freshly baked cookies, okay?
Yeah.
Billy's suspicious over Elle. Max covers for them, saying, Oh, you two missed work today and we were just worried, so we just wanted to check on you guys. Billy says, oh, well, Heather was sick, so I took care of her. And Heather's like, I'm feeling so much better. And like, this is so weird. So Elle and Max leave. Billy, in his head, starts being shown images of Elle sealing the door to the upside down. Okay. Billy sees it reopen and the capillaries in his eyes turn black.
Yeah.
Okay. At the same time, Will hears fluttering. Will, in the woods, just wrecked Castle Byers, stops crying, hears fluttering, and feels something on his neck. And he turns around, and just then Mike and Lucas are coming through the woods and they find him and they're like, are you okay? And Will's like, he's back. I'm like, oh, fuck. Will still has a connection to him. He never lost the connection. Now we're back to Heather's house, okay? Janet is weird all of a sudden. She's feeling lightheaded. She says she needs to go and lay down. Of course, like, Tom thinks it's because, like, you drank too much wine again, Janet. You know, I told you not to drink so much wine. She gets up, excuses herself, gets to the living room, completely collapses. She's out cold. Tom gets up, runs into the living room to see if she's okay. He yells out to call 911. Just as, like, Heather comes in and cracks him over the head with a freaking empty wine bottle.
Yeah. I was so happy that that it didn't break.
Yeah, because that's not
a real thing. If you smack somebody in the back of the head with a wine bottle, they're going down.
They go down.
Those things are thick.
Exactly. So yeah, he went down and Billy looks like he's like got a bottle of chloroform and he's like putting it on a rag and hands the rag to Heather, who puts it over her dad's mouth and nose and says, sorry, Daddy. This will all be over soon, which are the same exact words that Billy was saying to Heather the night before.
Right.
Yeah. She's like, I promise. Tom's out. Black. That's the end of the episode.
It was such a fucked up ending to an episode, and it's only episode 3. Like,
it's only episode 3. There's 5 more episodes.
Yeah. It's getting to where it's like this was all. It's getting super invasion of the body snatchers.
Yeah. DB came into the room like when Hopper was getting beat up, and I'm very vocal when I watch shows that I'm really into. So I'm like, no. DB comes into the room and I'm like, pause. I'm like, don't look, because he's only like halfway through season 2. He stopped. I don't remember why, but I'm trying to catch him up because like I need him in the chat. You know, I can't be doing this all by myself. You know, he needs to be watching this with me. He never saw it either. That is a very rare thing that I am ahead of him in any show on this planet.
He's your emotional support dragon.
Yeah, pretty much. And then of course, as my afternote, the music once again kicked ass. Okay.
Yeah, this was good music. This one.
It was great music. We started off with Angel by Madonna during the slumber party. We had Lover Girl by Tina Marie. We had Things Can Only Get Better by Howard Jones, which is the song that is currently stuck in my head right now. And I hope that it's gone. I probably do. I probably just put this back in my head again, watching this on Saturday night. So anybody with me, anybody has had that song stuck in their head too, you know, let me know in the comments. Wake Me Up Before You Go Go by Wham.
Wham!
Jazzercise. Okay. I know that it's really fitting that Wham has a documentary out on Netflix that came out like a week or two ago. Yeah. I did not see it yet, but I had an extensive conversation about this with Shanti from Pop My Culture. Okay. And I told her that back in the 80s, I had absolutely no clue that George Michael was gay. But me in 2023, looking back at me in the 80s, like, girl, how could you not know that he's not gay? Like,
what the fuck, dude?
I mean, like, dude, like, it is so, like, me looking at George Michael now from the 80s, it is so blatantly obvious that he was gay. And I don't know, I thought he was just like super good looking. Like, I had a crush on him for like 15 years. Okay.
Yeah. Denial is what that was.
Man, he had the perfect hair and the perfect skin. He knew how to dance. He knew how to dress.
Yeah. So there's right there. There's all your 4 checklists. You got the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, Shanti said that she knew, but then Shanti talked to her mom. Shanti actually did watch the documentary with her mother. Mm-hmm. And thank God mom didn't know either. So.
What the fuck?
I know. And one more song that I noted was in Heather's parents during the dinner party. The ending song that Billy put on was American Pie by Don McLean.
Yep.
Yeah. Records.
Yeah.
Don McLean.
I know.
It was a great episode. I am really into this season. I have no idea where it's freaking going.
Me either.
I don't. I hope like Rat Lady doesn't eat Nancy and Jonathan. I hope Mike and Lucas take Will seriously next episode instead of pulling the whole like what Hopper pulled on Joyce. Like, oh, you're just throwing out excuses, like I hope that Joyce doesn't move away. But at least now Hopper believes Joyce.
Right.
I mean, he got the shit kicked out of him. I hope Hopper doesn't have amnesia. That was a big thing in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. That was a big movie trope in the 80s, amnesia.
Everybody had
or daytime amnesia. Television.
Soap operas.
Mm-hmm.
It was all over the soaps.
I thought that quicksand was going to be a bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never once had to stop, drop, and roll. I know that it works, but I mean, the way they drilled that into our heads, I thought I was going to be catching on fire way more often.
I was terrified of killer bees that were coming over the Mexican border. No killer bees.
No killer bees.
Well, there was that one thing in 2020 with that killer wasp, but I think they killed them.
Yeah.
Remember our 2020 bingo cards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're still out there. They're just, nobody pays them much attention because everybody's busy being poor.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get political on this show.
I don't know how political poverty is, but
the economy took a shit in 2020 and it's still shit.
Yeah.
But at least we can afford Netflix to watch this show.
Right. Well, that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. While you got the chat out there.
Yeah.
I'm really considering dumping my Netflix subscription until this SAG contract dispute is over.
Well, if you do that,
along with Disney and the whole stroke, HBO.
But this Stranger Things is now not going to be coming out next year. It might come out in, what they say, 2025, 2027. It was an odd number like that. But this season, the writers were paid for. So if we finish this, technically, will it affect anything?
No, but I don't want to monthly contribute until, you know what I mean? I don't want them to get my money.
Right.
Because that's the only thing that these studios are going to learn from is not getting paid.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can very easily pre-watch a couple of episodes, and that'll buy us a month.
All right. I can work with you on that because I admire where you stand on stuff like this. You know, I would never tell you not to do something, but yeah, if you want to, because it's almost the end of July, there's only like a week and a half left. So if you want to watch the rest of season 3, you know.
I don't know that I don't think it's going to take that long.
No, I mean, that's when your bill renews is, you know, usually in a week or so.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just saying, I don't know that we need to watch 5 more episodes.
Okay.
To get us there. I'm just saying a couple.
All righty. Not a problem. Yeah, I admire where you stand. I would never ask you to go against your own beliefs just for the sake of a podcast. And if it's a long-term strike, then we'll talk about maybe putting off season 4, but we'll talk about that down the road.
Yeah. Even then, I bet you money I can find another way to watch this show.
Yeah, we're Gen X. We know all the pirate shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know.
No. Yes, no.
Watch the Escape Pods last episode on Media Pirates if you want to get into that. So.
For sure.
well, that's everything. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and that's that, I guess, right?
Yeah, stay safe out there. Stranger Things has happened.
Stranger Things has happened.
See ya.